Have you noticed American airports and restaurants looking emptier than ever? It feels like half the tourists vanished overnight. Times Square is suddenly breathable, and you can get a table at that once impossible restaurant. There's a massive reason for this quiet spell, a travel shift shaking up the country, hitting some states harder than others. Today we're diving into 5 American states that tourists are skipping as they flock to Europe. We sent our team out to see it for ourselves, and the footage is shocking, iconic landmarks with room to spare. Let's break down why this is happening, which states are feeling it most, and what it looks like on the ground right now. First up, New York, the city that never sleeps, but right now it's taking a nap. The energy that usually pulses through these streets has faded to a quiet hum, and the city's famous hustle feels like it's on pause. Our producer hit Times Square on a Friday afternoon expecting the usual sea of people, flashing billboards, and the constant buzz of activity. Instead, you could actually see the pavement. No crowds, no chaos, just a handful of locals and a few confused tourists wandering around. We challenged him to find a sold-out Broadway show. Even the big names had empty seats. Rows that would normally be packed with theater lovers from around the world were dotted with empty chairs, and the applause felt a little quieter than usual. The theater district's usual flood of tourists has slowed to a trickle. Sidewalks that once overflowed with excited crowds are now eerily calm, with only a few people snapping photos or checking their maps. Central Park's sheep meadow, once packed with sunbathers, picnickers, and families, now has open green patches everywhere. You can actually find a quiet spot to yourself, which is almost unheard of in the summer. It looks peaceful, almost serene, but for the city's economy, it's a red alert. The emptiness is a warning sign, not a blessing. We tried walk-in tables at 5 of Manhattan's hottest restaurants during peak dinner hours. Normally you'd need a reservation weeks in advance, but we got seated at 3. No wait, no problem. The staff seemed almost relieved to have someone to serve. One manager told us summer bookings are down 40%. His regulars? Posting photos from Italy and Greece, living it up abroad while their favorite spots at home sit empty. He's worried about making payroll if things don't pick up soon. Even the Statue of Liberty ferry, usually packed with eager sightseers, had a wait of less than 30 minutes on a sunny day. The terminal, once bustling, felt almost abandoned. Taxi drivers around Penn Station and JFK all said business is painfully slow. Fewer fares, fewer airport runs, and long stretches of waiting for passengers who never show up. Some are even considering switching jobs. Street vendors selling hot dogs and souvenirs are making less than half their usual summer income. Many are packing up early, hoping tomorrow will be better, but knowing it probably won't. Observation decks like the Empire State Building and top of the Rock. No lines, plenty of space for photos, and a view of a city that feels strangely still. It's a photographer's dream, but a business owner's nightmare. Hotel occupancy rates in Midtown are at their lowest in years. Flights into JFK and LaGuardia are down, and the ripple effect is hitting everyone from bellhops to baggage handlers. It's a perfect storm. Tourists have ghosted New York. The city's most iconic landmarks are nearly empty, and the usual summer crowds are nowhere to be found. Why? The revenge travel trend has shifted. Americans are cashing in on dream trips to Europe thanks to a strong dollar and open borders. Instagram is flooded with photos of friends in Paris, Rome, and Santorini, while New York's attractions are left waiting. New York, for now, is getting left behind. The city that once drew millions is suddenly the one being skipped as travelers chase new adventures across the Atlantic. For New Yorkers, it's a summer like no other. Quiet, uncertain, and a little bit surreal. Next up, we head to the Sunshine State, Florida, a place long synonymous with family vacations, spring break getaways, and endless days of sun-soaked fun. For decades, Florida has been the go-to destination for theme parks, beautiful beaches, and that promise of an endless summer. But lately, the magic that once drew millions is starting to fade. In Orlando, the theme park capital of the world, our team managed to ride the 5 most popular roller coasters in under 3 hours, a feat that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. Wait times, which used to stretch for hours, were now just a fraction of what's considered normal, with many rides practically walk-on. The parks themselves felt almost surreal. Disney characters stood alone, waving to empty streets, and the usual crowds were nowhere to be found. Down in Miami, South Beach, famous for its vibrant nightlife and bustling promenades, was running at half power with far fewer people strolling the iconic strip. Nightlife and clubs, once the heartbeat of Miami after dark, are quieter than ever, with DJs spinning for only a handful of guests. A longtime club promoter told us his big-spending clients have all jetted off to Ibiza and Mykonos this summer, chasing the party overseas instead of in Miami. Even the beaches, from South Beach to Fort Lauderdale, had huge gaps of empty sand, something unheard of during peak season. Local businesses that rely on tourism are feeling the strain. We spoke to a Miami souvenir shop owner who said sales are down 60% compared to last year. She's been forced to cut staff hours just to keep the doors open. The Florida Keys, usually jam-packed with visitors, had light traffic and empty parking lots at major attractions. We were able to book a sunset cruise the same day, something that would have been impossible in previous summers when every boat was sold out weeks in advance. Fishing charters, snorkeling trips, and jet ski rentals are all feeling the pinch, with many operators reporting their worst summer in years. One fishing boat captain told us cancellations are at an all-time high, as more and more people are choosing to spend their vacations in Europe instead. Even the famous Everglades airboat tours are running empty. Our group was the only one out on the water that day, a rare sight for this time of year. So what's behind this dramatic shift? The main culprit is the surge in international travel to Europe, but there's also a growing sense of tourism fatigue and frustration with skyrocketing prices for hotels and theme park tickets in Florida. For the price of a week in Orlando, families are now choosing to explore Portugal, Croatia, or other European destinations where their money goes further and the experiences feel fresh. As the sun sets over Florida's empty beaches, it's clear that the state's fun in the sun reputation is losing out to the allure of European adventures, leaving local businesses and attractions wondering when or if the crowds will return. Now let's turn our attention to California, the legendary Golden State, a place that has long symbolized opportunity, adventure, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. Think Hollywood, sun-soaked beaches, and the world's tech capital. But lately there's something missing: tourists. LAX, usually buzzing with excitement and travelers from around the globe, was eerily calm, almost silent. Driving from Santa Monica to Hollywood during what should have been rush hour took just 45 minutes, an unheard-of feat in a city famous for its gridlock. The roads, once jam-packed, now feel strangely empty. The Hollywood Walk of Fame, usually a magnet for crowds, was nearly deserted. Street performers who once drew throngs of onlookers now looked lonely, performing for just a handful of people. Even Disneyland, the happiest place on Earth, felt different. Wait times for rides like Space Mountain were shockingly low, just 20 minutes when they're often over an hour. A former cast member shared that the park is struggling to fill up, especially with domestic tourists. The magic feels a little dimmer with so many empty spaces. Instead, people are choosing Paris over Main Street. USA European destinations are drawing the crowds that once flocked to California. In San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge Lookout, normally packed with visitors, had instant parking, a rarity that locals can hardly believe. At Fisherman's Wharf, there were more sea lions basking in the sun than tourists snapping photos. Benches sat empty, and the usual buzz was gone. Sourdough bread bowl shops, once famous for their long lines, had no wait at all. You could walk right up and order. Alcatraz tours, which used to be booked months in advance, now have next-day tickets available. The demand just isn't there. Even the iconic cable cars weren't packed. For the first time in years, you could actually get a seat and enjoy the ride. San Francisco's economy depends on millions of tourists each year. Now it's a ghost of itself. Souvenir shops stand empty, and the city's vibrant energy feels muted. Napa and Sonoma wineries, once reservation only and bustling with visitors, now accept walk-ins. The wine country's charm remains, but the crowds have thinned. Tasting room traffic is down 30%, leaving staff waiting for guests who never arrive. California faces a perfect storm: the Europe craze, negative headlines about homelessness and crime, and the soaring cost of a California vacation. For many, the price just isn't worth it anymore. The Golden State's shine is fading as Americans look abroad for their next adventure, leaving California's golden dream a little less bright than before. Next, Las Vegas, entertainment capital of the world built for crowds. But the Strip feels muted. Saturday night should be chaos, but it's manageable. The Bellagio fountains aren't 5 people deep. Casinos have empty blackjack tables and idle slot machines. Employees look bored. The high-energy buzz is missing. Vegas shows, from Cirque du Soleil to Magic Acts, all had seats available, many at discounts. An usher told us houses are only 70 to 80% full, the slowest summer in years. Restaurants from celebrity chefs, once impossible to book, now have open tables. A steakhouse waitress said her tips are down, big groups and bachelor parties just aren't coming. Pool parties are quieter, with empty cabanas and plenty of space in the water. Wedding chapels report fewer spontaneous walk-ins. The story is the same. Americans are spending their Vegas money on a week in Barcelona. The lure of European culture is stronger than the neon lights of the Strip. Vegas is in a high-stakes gamble, and right now it's losing to Europe. Finally, Hawaii, the ultimate dream destination, but this year it's too quiet. Honolulu Airport wasn't bustling. Waikiki Beach had vast stretches of empty sand. Surf instructors have huge gaps in their schedules. There's room to actually surf. On Maui, even in areas open to tourism, resort pools and beaches are nearly empty. A hotel manager said occupancy is at a historic low, with bookings from the mainland down 50%. Local shops and galleries are empty. One jewelry shop owner hadn't made a sale all day. The road to Hana, usually jammed, was clear. Fruit stands and banana bread stalls waited for customers. Helicopter tours and snorkeling trips had same-day availability and were only half full. Luau's, once packed, now have empty tables. Hawaii's problem is clear. It's a long, expensive flight, and for the same price, families can visit Europe. The high cost of food and lodging is pushing tourists to stretch their dollars elsewhere. For Hawaii, so dependent on tourism, this shift is a potential catastrophe. The paradise is still there, but the people are not. So there you have it. New York, Florida, California, Nevada, and Hawaii. 5 tourism giants, now ghost towns. From empty Manhattan streets to quiet Waikiki beaches, these states are feeling the impact as Americans choose Europe. The data is clear, the stories are real, and the visuals are undeniable. This isn't just a trend, it's a massive economic shift reshaping American travel. The allure of castles, new cultures, and adventure is proving irresistible. For years, these states were the go-to, but now the competition is global. Will they lower prices, create new attractions? The U.S. tourism industry faces a wake-up call. We're watching a travel experiment play out in real time, and we'll keep tracking it. Which state surprised you most? Did you skip a U.S. trip for Europe this year? Tell us in the comments. Your stories are part of this conversation. And if you want more deep dives like this, subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching. See you next time.